Today I'm making bread, and I thought maybe you would like to see how I grind my wheat berries with my Vitamix mixer. So I grind 2 cups of wheat berries at once. So I need to measure out 2 cups. Now, this is really, really loud, and maybe someday I'll get a wheat grinder, but this is working just fine for now. And so I will show you what it does, but it's super loud, so I'm going to turn the video off while I finish grinding it. It grinds for 1 minute. That's all it takes to grind 2 cups of flour of wheat berries into flour. Okay, here goes. And this is just a regular Vitamix mixer. So you have to have it on full speed, high speed, and it was on high because I ground flour the other day. So you turn it on, press the button, turn it on, and then press it again. Okie dokie. There's 1 minute. Now I'm going to need about 6 cups of flour for the bread that I'm making. And so I grind 2 cups at a time, like I told you. When you're through grinding the 2 cups of wheat berries, it does make a little more than 2 cups of flour. So what I do when I'm actually making my bread, I use a sifter and I sift the flour through this sifter. For one thing, the flour is very, very hot from the friction of grinding it, and so I put it through the sifter. It cools it off, and also it makes it fluffy. Then, if there are any clumps or anything like that left from just the grinding process, that fluffs it back up. So now I've ground and sifted 2 cups of fresh wheat berries in about 3 minutes. I do sift it into a container like this, and then I just measure my grains. This is 1/4 of a cup, but I'll just measure my flour straight out of there. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. It has such a nutty flavor, and there is a little bit of difference in cooking with whole grain wheat than just regular all-purpose white flour that you buy from the store. But that's what I'm doing. I thought maybe in case you don't have a flour mill, but you do have a Vitamix, you would like to see how it turns out. Alrighty, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. Hi y'all. Today I'm going to show you how I make brown sugar in my KitchenAid mixer. Now honestly, you don't need a KitchenAid mixer. You can just do this by hand in a bowl with a spoon. And in fact, when my sister needs brown sugar, she puts sugar in a bowl. Like if she's making cookies, she just puts regular sugar in there and then dumps molasses in with it. But I'm going to go ahead and pre-mix mine. I like to have it ready in my container to use, and so I'm going to show you how I do it. First, with 3 cups of sugar, and I like to use organic cane sugar. It's still processed, I know, but it's closer to normal than some. Okay. So here are 3 cups of sugar. You can use any kind of sugar you want. And then you use 2 tablespoons of molasses for 1 cup of sugar. So I need 6 tablespoons. Honestly, I don't measure it. I just dump it in there until my sugar looks the brownness that I want it to be. Okay? So you just mix slowly. Oh, it helps if you plug it in. Did you know that? Make sure it's plugged in. And so I do kind of try to pay attention to what looks to be about a tablespoon. That's about a tablespoon. That's about another tablespoon. I'm up to about 4 tablespoons now. I'm going to let this mix for a minute. Oops. Here, let me show you how it looks. So when you first start mixing it in there, see how it looks? It's not completely incorporated together. But if you keep going, it gets there. I can tell I am going to need those other 2 tablespoons. So that's about a tablespoon. And that's about a tablespoon. I love doing this. Love it, love it. I'm going to speed this up just a little. Oh my goodness, it smells so good and so rich. So rich. Okay, look at this, y'all. Just look at this. Look. There's my brown sugar. I love it. Okay, so if you need brown sugar and you don't have any, just try to always keep a jug of this on hand, because you can use it for all kinds of things besides making brown sugar. Okay, talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Okay, you guys, on this video, I'm going to show you my basic bread recipe that I use to make bread from whole wheat berries, whole grain, whole wheat. It's called all 3. Whole grain, whole wheat, or fresh wheat berries. My basic bread recipe, okay? So in this bowl, I have warm milk and water. A cup of milk, 3/4 of a cup of water. You can use whatever, if you want to just use all milk, or if you want to use all water, you can do that. That's just how I choose to do it. Then 1/2 stick of butter. And as you can see, it's all going right into the mixer. Then I need 2 tablespoons of honey. And once again, I just kind of guess at this. That's about 2 tablespoons. If you're wanting to be precise, that's okay. Just measure 2 tablespoons. Then I need 2 tablespoons of yeast. This is 1/2 tablespoon, so I need 4 of these. Okie dokie. Now I'm going to just kind of stir that around. And I love watching it because all of a sudden the yeast just goes like this across the surface of the liquid. It takes about, well, it depends on how warm your liquid is, but it takes maybe 5 minutes. And I forgot my salt, so I'll add salt after the yeast mixes with the liquid that I have in there. So have you ever watched the yeast as it mixes with the liquid? It's starting to do that. Oh my goodness, it's so fascinating because what was little clumps of yeast all over the surface of the liquid suddenly just kind of goes like this and expands, and the yeast all incorporates until it's just a surface of yeast, kind of foamy yeast across the top of the liquid, and I just love watching it. It's kind of like watching paint dry, you know. It started and then it stopped. Come on. Let me give it a little stir. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It's just, if it would make a sound, it would go, I'm sure of it. Okay, now I want to add 1 egg. Some recipes that you read that uses whole grain, whole wheat, says to use lecithin. I don't have lecithin, so I'm going to use an egg. And these are farm eggs, so I never crack it straight into my container. I always make sure it's good and fresh first before I put it in my mixture. So I'm going to add the egg, and I'm going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon of salt. That's the Himalayan pink salt. I like to use that. Okie dokie, that's good and mixed up. And now I'm going to add the, excuse me, sorry about that, whole grain flour. And to start with, I want 2 cups of flour. So I'm going to just sprinkle 2 cups in there. I've already sifted this. I sift it so that it's good and fluffy. When I buy store-bought flour, I don't sift it. Okay, so there's 2 cups. Now, I am almost out of whole grain flour. I think I only have another cup here, and I need about 5 cups total. So I don't typically do this, but I do have all-purpose organic white whole wheat flour, and I'm going to finish out the balance of my recipe with that. When I was a kid growing up, Daddy always ground wheat into flour, and that's what we grew up with, whole wheat flour that he ground. But I've only started doing this myself with the Vitamix. So that's 2 cups of flour. That's mixed well together now, and I'm going to add 2 more cups. So when you start reading about all of the things that are in added to white flour. Okay, let's see, let me think. I just added the 3rd cup. Now I need to finish out the balance of this. So I had about 3.5 cups of whole wheat. Now, so I added the 3rd cup of whole wheat. Now this is half whole wheat and half white whole wheat, all-purpose from the store. All right, now I'm going to mix that. And I'm going to let this mix or knead for about 5 minutes. And as it mixes, if I can tell it's a little bit sticky, I'm going to slowly add, I usually just add a sprinkle at a time. I take 1/4 of a cup and sprinkle it in there as I go until it sort of pulls away from the side of the bowl. But I'm going to let this go for about 5 minutes. I'll watch it, but it'll go about 5 minutes.